Good morning, everybody. Jim Fleiss and Hank Goldberg back with you. It's Monday morning. Hank, I'm glad you're home and feeling a little bit better. Last week was a rough week for you.
Yep. Excuse me. I got out on Saturday for breakfast. A friend of mine who's in the publishing business publishes football newspapers. He was in town for their meetings. And we went for breakfast downtown. He's an old friend of mine from Miami, and he's a guy named Tom Curtis who played for Michigan back in 1970. Great safety. Still holds the Big Ten record for interceptions. And he's the guy who signed with was drafted by the Baltimore Colts. And they traded him to the Dolphins, and he was on the Dolphins' perfect team, and he blew out his knee, never played again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, good guy.
Well, you're back home, and you're going to try to get back into your regular schedule. Talking about schedules, college basketball starts with some minor tournaments this week, and as the week goes on, and next week as well, the major tournaments begin.
Some good ones. Duke will play North Carolina again at the end of the week. It's not a tournament game. But Duke is hit the skids, kind of. Not playing very well right now. They really need their big guy. And they will play against Wake tomorrow. But they blasted the University of Miami over the weekend. Kentucky, I don't know. I guess they're kind of saving up for the tournaments. They're not really playing their best to get to the end of their regular season.
Yeah, they had Tennessee returned the favor on them over the weekend. They got blasted when they went. Tennessee got blasted when they went to Kentucky, and then Kentucky came down there to Knoxville and got blasted by the Vols. That was a big win for Tennessee. Their confidence has got to be sky high right now.
Yeah, I would guess so. I'm not sure what to make of Tennessee going into their tournament. I don't have a lot of confidence in them. But, we'll see what happens when they get into their postseason. I don't have a lot of faith in them for some reason. The team just keeps rolling along is Gonzaga. They played the team that, on Saturday night that was one of their big rivals. And they were only a 9-point favorite, and they won pretty easily over them. That was St. Mary's.
Yeah, their problem is complacency at this point, and they have to fight that. The teams they play are kind of weak. So as long as they stay focused, they bury these teams. They got to the finals a couple years ago against North Carolina and lost it. Right now, unless Zion Williamson comes back for Duke, I don't see anybody that is, I like Gonzaga over the field. They're going to have to get through that first round or so to get their feet wet against a little bit better competition. But should they do that, I think they're going to go pretty far.
Well, they're going to have a good draw, and they'll probably draw the teams out west. And they shouldn't have problems against those teams.
They'll be in one of those 1-16 matchups.
Yeah, and Washington. We'll see how good they are. Arizona State had a good win last night. They could surprise some teams. They're well coached by Bobby Hurley, rather. Villanova, I don't know what to make of them in the East. Xavier's been playing pretty well. In the East, there'll be some good matchups there. St. John's, another team that's kind of up and down. But
Creighton knocked
you
off.
know, their Chris Mullins is going to have them ready to play. You can be sure of that.
Creighton got a big win over Marquette the other day, and that was very impressive because they forced Marquette into like 22 to 24 turnovers. It was a very sloppy game for Marquette. Now, I don't know if they were feeling the effects of having played at Villanova a couple days earlier in a tough game, but they looked very sloppy.
It was very surprising that they would play that way.
Yeah, it was. It really was. Now, you know, Creighton is dangerous. I mean, they have quite the pedigree. They don't have the talent they had years ago, but they're playing better. And they shoot the ball well. They play decent defense. Now, I don't know whether to give them credit for all the turnovers or just blame Marquette. Pretty hard to say, but I think they're a dangerous team.
Marquette just turned the ball over, not because so much of Creighton's defense, but just because they were turning the ball over. You know, they were taking bad shots, and they would, they couldn't bring the ball in from out of bounds. They couldn't do anything. It was like they didn't show up.
Yeah, there was a one-man show for them, and Howard couldn't pull it off all by himself. And Sam Hauser could hardly he couldn't hit the ocean from a boat. Just one of those days. There's going to be a lot of big surprises in these tournaments because there's a lot of competitive balance. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a very interesting and exciting. You there, Hank?
Well, you know, there's teams, you know, like Texas Tech is going to be a tough team, a tough out. See how far they can go. But they're going to be good. How far is Auburn going to go? What are they going to do? How mature is Kentucky going to be? Will he have them ready? Probably. There's a lot of good teams around. Syracuse, always tough at tournament time because they're a tough team to prepare for.
They got a big game tonight against Virginia.
Yeah.
Two very deliberate teams. Virginia usually handles them. I mean, it's a very unusual club. That pack line defense they play. You got a pack line defense against a 2-3 zone. I mean, the total in the game's like 120 or 23. I wouldn't bet it under at that number, but it kind of tells you what kind of score we're going to look at. Interesting night. We got a small conference tournament coming up tonight. I guess there's not much interest in it, but there are a few teams in there that play pretty good ball. Not terrible. It's called the Atlantic Sun Conference. New Jersey Tech, Florida Gulf Coast, a couple of years ago, got into the big dance and made some noise. Pretty good school in Lipscomb. They're 23-6, and New Jersey Tech is 20-11. But they've slowed down at the end of the season. They haven't been playing well. But they're a 3-point dog at Gulf Coast tonight. I don't know how much interest there is in that. And then you got Liberty, 25-6 on the season. A 13-point home favorite over Jacksonville in that game, Hank. I don't know if you have any interest in that league at all.
Not really. You know what? I'll be anxious to see what Kansas and Kansas State do, things like that, how they come into the postseason, and where they go. I just, those are the teams I'm interested in, have what Bill Self does with his team. Frank Martin and how he gets South Carolina ready for their tournament. There's some, like you said, there's some good matchups all over the place.
There really are. And the three big major games tonight are Virginia, Syracuse, Kansas State, TCU, Texas at Texas Tech. A lot of handicappers will look at that and say, well, these teams, some of these teams know they're in the big dance, and there's some teams that really need to make a statement. But like TCU, home dog, 1-point home dog to Kansas State. Kansas State's 22-7 on the season. TCU's 18-11. Kansas State's been very tough. TCU's fallen off a little bit. That's what makes handicapping these final games before the tournament starts much more complicated for the handicapper, and the sport's better.
I had a good weekend with the new football league. I took the dogs yesterday, and I came through with both of them. Although Spurrier's team got away with a win, but when I say got away with, I mean that. Who played well? The former Georgia quarterback for Atlanta. He had a good game, and they easily could have won that game. But their defense collapsed towards the end in the fourth quarter. And I had the winner on Saturday, too, so I went 3 for 3 in the picks in our service.
That's awesome. That's great. Well, you've been doing a good job with everything this year and last year.
I like that league.
I can tell. Anytime you're cashing tickets, right? It's always fun. Hank, I know you're busy today. Short card. We'll talk again on Wednesday. Your picks are up at jimfleiss.com. And anything else before we close off?
Fountain of Youth was a big surprise. The horse that we talked about, who was out of the same outfit that had Aggregate, really did nothing and was off the board. And the horse that won was out of the fifth barn, and or out of the fifth trainer, and he was a nice price, that one horse. And as usual with 3-year-olds making their stakes debuts, they had a big payoff at Gulfstream, and so we'll have to keep an eye on those 3-year-olds and see where they go from here. But the horse that was so highly touted out of the Mott barn, he did nothing. And maybe his first win, where he was 1 for 1, came on an off track. Maybe he's just an off track freak. We'll have to see. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we'll have to do that. All right, Hank, thank you for today. Enjoy your day. I'm glad you're back and you're starting to feel a little bit better. And we'll talk again on Wednesday.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thanks, Hank.